And we're on. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. It's Dr. Andrew Rimby here for an exciting pop culture summer analysis with one of my favorites, randomly Ronnie Jr., who is in the West Coast. I'm here in the East Coast, so we're holding down the fort. Welcome back to the podcast, Ronnie.
Yes, I'm not a doctor, so I don't get to have the fancy title. I don't know what's my title. What do I call myself, doctor? What do
A
I?
pop culture expert,
I'm
a
randomly Ronnie. That's all I got. I sound pretty boring today, man.
No, your YouTube is not boring with all your Real Housewives hot takes. I saw your recent one. You were ranking the housewives. That was really good.
It's so fascinating, that TV show, which is basically a comical, reality show, a little bit of scandal, this, that, and the other. But to think about that show having 20 seasons, like 20 years of the franchise, is pretty incredible. Like, has it always been at its best? No. Has there been scandals? Obviously. But for the most part, it's been a show that has been funny. There's been a lot of humor, and
Yeah.
there's been a lot of like communal excitement. So as they were getting ready for the 20th season, I was like, it brought me back to like why I fell in love with pop culture at the beginning, why I like reality TV, why reality TV was really exciting back then, and now we've got shows like Love Island, which, in my opinion, suck. So it's been
Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole whirlwind thinking about who you were back when that show started, Real Housewives, and where you're going. So it's been kind of an interesting thing to think about reality TV. Now, I know everybody looks at reality TV like it's a big joke, and it is. It really is. It's supposed to be fun. I get it. But there's a lot of like communication breakdowns and interesting storylines and plot lines that have been quite fascinating.
Yeah,
I love the
well,
genre, and I don't dare, doctor. I never call it a guilty pleasure, because if it brings you pleasure, you got to rock with it, you know?
well, and Ronnie, I'm just curious. You brought up like early reality TV, and I think that's fascinating because I talked with this author, Level Holder, whose book is like called The Book of Luke, and it's all about this gay reality contestant who like goes back to a survivor kind of competition.
Mhm.
It's called Endurance in his book, and that's the name of the show. And he like goes to it because he's trying to make more money because his gay senator husband cheated on him.
Mhm.
So, like he was talking to me on the podcast about Real World and just like those 90s, late 90s into 2000 shows.
Yeah.
And like I'm curious, why is Love Island? Because I agree with you. I tried to get through this new season or watch a little of Love Island, and I just find it very cotton candy. I don't know, the substance, I'm not really gravitating, even though there's those, bi-curious guys.
Well,
Maybe bi-curious.
for Dr. Andrew, there's a reason to watch. Okay, now listen, my thoughts on Love Island are this. I try not to be too ruthless about it with my opinion, because to each their own. And would I want somebody to judge me watching reality TV all those years on MTV, on VH1, on Bravo? Probably not. So I do want, and I think it's cool if you like Love Island. I just find it fascinating that for years and years and years, Dr. Andrew, I would watch reality TV, and for the most part, it was a guilty pleasure in terms of how people saw it. They didn't respect it, and that makes sense too. I totally get it. But what's funny is people who never, ever, ever like reality TV love Love Island. Like, how did they skip over and sort of shun reality TV, but Love Island, which is the worst version of the format, is the show that gets all the rage and all the excitement? My thoughts on it are this, because it isn't just the hot, tantalizing, spicy nature of Love Island that makes it maybe uh, very exciting for the masses, for the big audiences. I think it's also that we have shifted in a way. When we think about pop culture and how it's shifted over the years, the arts used to be about the arts. You used to be in the space of entertaining, Dorothy Dandridge, Gene Kelly, all these people from back in the day, um, Marlon Brando, all this stuff. It was about entertaining. The work was the work was the work. And then it shifted to almost like you're in the work, how you communicate with the work. And I think Love Island, what makes it interesting is once that hits the media platforms, digital verticals and stuff of that nature, it takes a life of its own. And that's why maybe I don't enjoy it, because I only watch the show, and the show at face value, Love Island, for me, I don't like it. But does it live on in verticals and all these, different opinions? I guess it does. Me personally, I sit down and watch an hour episode of everything, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a reality show, or whether it's a podcast. I am not I'm too old. I'm in my 40s. Clips don't do it for me. So I think that Love Island has a couple things. It really leans into the guiltiest of guilty pleasures, and it does so well online, and people get to have their experience with it. They almost like play it like a video game. Love Island is like a video game because you get to interact with it in ways that
Mm.
reality shows back in the day, watching E's The Kardashians or MTV's The Real World, Road Rules, The Challenge, or Bravo's Real Housewives, there was no interaction. The shows were good, but there was no interaction. So I feel
Yeah.
like that's maybe the biggest difference, Dr. Andrew. That
I was gonna say you could just call me Andrew, Ronnie.
respect goes very
I
far from.
know, but call me Andrew. Call me Andrew.
Okay, I'm gonna call you.
Doctor is
You know,
just my honorific. But well, wait, you might really want to watch. I don't know if you'll want to watch, but look up this video. I'm just gonna share my screen. So Bryce and Zach are the curious guys that
okay,
have really captivated
yeah,
everyone. And one of them asked the other to do a girth check
okay,
and
okay. Whoa,
literally
whoa.
opens up
You
and
can get.
literally shows him,
Yeah,
his stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
so but it's so interesting because the people who I think are really loving Love Island are also the ones who are loving off campus and
okay,
on Prime and um I feel like it's very trendy right now.
yeah,
And I'm not saying Ariana Madix, like I think it's great she's the host, but yeah, it just doesn't captivate me. Like I think for me right now, reality TV, I love the traders. I
yeah,
love when the competition and the personality reality TV come together. And I think the
yeah,
traders is doing it great. And let's get into right, yeah, we're celebrating Orange County coming back tonight, which I'm not exactly thrilled for Orange County, I'll be honest.
yeah. So you're
Because
talking
they did
about.
my girl, they did Katie Janela wrong.
So you're talking about 20 years of Real Housewives of Orange County, a 20th season amongst us now. So many cast members. Yeah, I did an episode about that too, breaking down who are the top five essentially from
Hmm.
all seasons. Um, you have some disdain for maybe some of the casting. It's a tougher show to maybe cast, and it's a tougher show to stay up to date. I won't use the word relevant, but it's a tougher show to stay up to date. Um, Audiences have been very different. It's always funny. Everyone always says, what do they say? The audience is very savvy. They're very. I don't think the audience is savvy. I just think uh, production companies and television networks, they play to the audience way too much versus giving a good show. Going back to what I said, Love Island, I'll never knock it because it is a guilty pleasure, but it is almost like user generated content. It's not about the show, but it's about the clip that you just showed or the photo you showed and how that lives elsewhere online. It's not actually about the show. So I think what Orange County and Bravo and reality shows mess up on sometimes is they try so bad to have these viral, memeable, quotable moments. And if you really break it down, the best quotable, memeable moments were all natural. I mean, there may have
Mm.
been some amping up for the camera, but she's not even my favorite per se. But Nene Leaks did it like no other.
Oh
Dorinda
yeah.
with Clip, Dorinda with Not Well BITCH. And I think that's it's funny because we're having like this intelligent conversation over reality TV, but I just as an older guy in my 40s, I want the shows to be more entertaining. When they start pitching out to what the audience and the what's going to do well, and we have to make sure this fan base is happy, and crossing this line, it's a lot. I didn't necessarily know or watch Katie too much on that show. I thought she was fine, but I didn't really care too much either. You got to give a good show. What did they have, a faux lie detector test? Like, it was so silly to me.
Well, and
What?
that's what Katie has exposed
Mm,
on the podcast she's now doing, which I definitely recommend you listen to, but everyone, because it's a great recap show. So
Oh, I think
Jamie Rice has been in the podcast space a while,
yeah.
but
Oh,
Katie's
I
joined
think
her.
Katie had one. She
Yeah,
started.
so
Oh, good.
it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what I really was disappointed about with Katie is that they like stopped filming with her. And like when she was just like getting her voice with Tamra, like she should, I don't know why she wasn't brought back when like we still have Emily, Gina, uh, Heather, like people who, in my opinion, are not necessarily really giving a lot.
Wait a minute.
They're
We can like Katie on this side of our brain, yes, but you're not going to say Heather's not captivating. Heather, to me,
Well, I think she's captivating, but I think she also needs an antagonist, like someone who questions her.
okay. Well, I guess we're both saying the same thing in many different
Yeah.
ways. That show, uh, I don't know. I don't want to judge it because 20 seasons is really incredible, but I also, I like Gina. I think Gina's great. I don't, okay. When we judge, it's an
Yeah.
interesting
I
tele.
think she's funny. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think she has some humor. I mean, I definitely enjoy Gina more than I do Emily.
Well, let me stay on the point because it sounds like this is what you were saying. I didn't think this is
Yeah.
necessarily the talking point, but are you saying that you feel like people like Gina, Emily, and Heather used and leveraged their position with the show, and then it caused a problem for Katie? Is that kind of what you were saying?
Yeah. Well, I think Emily, Gina, Heather, Shannon, like there was definitely an alliance made, especially because Katie was best friends with Jen, and then Jen like basically just completely stabbed her in the back because Katie was honest about Gretchen
Mm-hmm.
and Jen having this whole plan to like take down Tamra.
But see what I'm saying?
And
Like, and all that may be true. I don't know. You
yeah,
probably investigated it more. It's a reality show, investigated, but
yeah,
you probably
there
investigated.
is an investigation. Yeah, yeah,
But here's my thing. When you think again about those shows like Dorinda with the clip and the Not Well and the, Sonia Morgan's Holland Tunnel, you
yeah,
didn't need all this other stuff. And it's so funny. It's like get a cast member that is compelling and get this cast member that's compelling and let things organically happen, even if it takes a little bit of time.
yeah,
I'm not against any of these ladies, but all of this, oh well, there's a receipt for this and a receipt for that. I don't think it plays really interesting and entertaining on the television. It
yeah,
might when it goes to like we talked about digital and online, it might, but it's just to me the shows need to re-aim their focus on the communications between
yeah,
everybody. I mean, I'm surprised there's not a lot more with Shannon because Shannon seems to drop the ball so much, but for whatever reason, she sort of has a free pass on this show. She's the little engine that could. Maybe she's like Sonia Morgan, but there could be some, like dialing into her a little bit more.
yeah.
I think,
And I
yeah.
will say, I think Ronnie, my main issue with the Orange County just set up in the cast are their politics. Like, I'll be honest, I really don't like how conservative they are and how many of them are MAGA. And like that to me is where Katie, she's very openly progressive. And that caused, I think, like the only other one who I think isn't MAGA is Tamara, who's come out and said something, and Heather. So it's like, and that, like, to me, isn't an accurate representation of Orange County, since Orange County is pretty mixed, like half and half, if that. I mean, I also think it's interesting that they're all in black, and some are speculating, Ronnie, that that's because they're representing the funeral of the season, that some people think this is the last season of Orange County.
Well, it could be because the shows ran for a long period of time.
I mean,
I'm
20
gonna say
years is a
this though.
long time. Yeah,
Yes, yes. I'm gonna say this too, though. All that extra stuff, it does matter on a human one-on-one level for sure. On the sake of a show, like shows just need to be shows. And every production company or network has the right to bring on who they want. Obviously, they don't want Kelly Dodd as part of the network at this stage. But I just feel like I'm thinking back 20 years versus now. Everyone who maybe you're speaking about was who they were 20 years ago. It's just coming to a different light now. And so my thing is like, while it's so important, it is so important. I get what you're saying, but like, is this knocking down the nature of the shows being entertaining? You know what I mean? Like, why do we even have to put any of that in Front Street? Like, make the storylines compelling, make the interactions, the
Yeah.
confusing, you said this, I said this, great reality TV moments. Let's just make them at that. I
Yeah.
don't want to be one of these people that's like, oh, I don't even want to know what they, because you could always see it, but I just kind of don't. Not for the show. Let the show be fun, or we got to just scrap reality TV altogether.
Yeah.
Is sort of what I
Well,
feel, you know,
yeah.
because going back, I mean, all of our great MTV shows. Who knows what everyone. We who know, but you still watch the show. You were still entertained. You liked the production and employed a lot of people. And now, to me, though the timing is what you're saying, um, I do wonder if it uh, ruins the shows altogether. And I don't just mean reality shows, just interactions in general.
Well,
Scripted shows.
I think it's a good like debate we're having, Ronnie, because and it's like a healthy debate, you know. I
Well,
like
no, I wrote my
should reality TV like how much should it involve politics and
no. See, I roll my eyes like enough. Like it's all we speak about. I just I'm done. I don't agree. I don't know. I agree the debates are valuable, but I'm just like we give a point. Let's talk about a thing. Let's talk about a thing. We like Jen or we don't like Jen. We like, you know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
don't. It's
Well,
redundant.
the problem is I think there's not enough organic friendships. So I
Yeah,
think that we've moved away from the actual friendships and we've moved into like people investigating each other because they don't know what else to do in order to, bring drama that they think needs to be there to
yeah,
manufacture. And like, it's come out that a lot of the housewives will literally say like, "Oh, I'm going to do this in the scene." Like I'm going to bring this. Like I'm going to bring information. Like some of them are really playing a part. And I think like that's a problem if you're expected to think they're organically they
yeah.
know
Well,
each other.
I think that if you're gonna say if that's what it is, that means this is sort of the genre sort of falling a little bit. If that's what it is, like I said, if
Well,
you
I
can't,
think the Real Housewives is definitely falling. I
you
don't
know
think
what?
it's
No,
strong.
I'm saying reality TV in general.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
but I think the
that's
Real Housewives is struggling.
that's why there's a shit. Well, they should do what they should do and lean into what they're best at. I think they're trying so hard to be compete. Who cares what Love Island's doing, or even Bravo for that matter, doing Next
Yeah.
Gen? Oh, so they could like kind of have that audience too. Like, just do what you do. And I understand it's
Yeah.
competitive. Yes, I get that. But you have to do what you do. You can cut these corners in the short run, but in the long run, you're always going to be chasing, and you start to look silly, and the brand starts to be affected in a way. Again,
Yeah.
I could only break it down to like, you know, I don't like watching these shows with the receipts and the receipts. The receipts to me, all they really do is sure they do well online, but they also showcase like I would never enjoy that cast member fully because I know that like they're going to bring receipts, and at some point are the receipts or are the receipts sort of fabricated too? Now you look like the liar more than the liar you said was the liar.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know why the example I keep going to is Dorinda, but Dorinda's energy and the stuff that would come up, they were natural. You leave people
Hmm.
together for a long period of time, uh, I think issues start to arise. The bigger thing to what you're saying though is it's not just about they don't really know each other. It's that there's not enough going on. I miss now sans the very obvious thing I'm going to keep at bay, shows like Making the Band and the process of like rehearsal, getting to dance class, singing
Hmm.
lessons, going to go do press, teaching yourself how to do press interviews, the look, the fashion, how to present, how to perform. I miss, and again, Sans, you know what I'm, of course, speaking of the the person who created that show or was a part of that show. I miss that Danity Kane group of gals coming together and chasing
Mm.
the dream, being put in their paces. American Idol and The Voice have it a little, but it's more like a competition show, and there's a lot of places for that. But I feel like if I was running Bravo or a big network, the E channel maybe, is probably trying to be on the come up. I would make sure that the shows have a little bit of a process. Like, what is the things that the people are trying to do? Much like MTV's original Real World, those early seasons were so much better than those season 32, I think was Seattle for the third time, Vegas for the
Mm.
third time. I think the Vegas third time season, they tried to make it like a fear factor. You see what happens when you start shifting things up and trying to compete with the market? Who cares what the market's doing? You have to do what's the best for you. Now, I say that as a bit of a failure, and I'm not calling myself a failure, but I say that as a failure because I have ran my own race, 1,500 episodes in the broadcast, pop culture space, radio for 20 years, all that stuff, and I keep running my race and I haven't pivoted. I haven't shifted. I hate digital, vertical, social media. I can't stand any of it. And I've suffered because of it. However, who am I if I pivot so much that I lose everything about what I'm trying to do and what the original intention is? So I just wish there was more. Dr. Andrew, I wish there was more people like me who just worry about the work. We got to worry about the work. I had the greatest moment watching the television recently when the Tony Awards was on because the Tony Awards felt special. It was about the work. Why do we do it so much? The stunt casting, even in the Tonys, does happen, and a stunt casting of Pink as the host, even though she's so phenomenal, and but not bringing a actual person from the theater was still little stunt casting. So fine, make little modifications. I get it, but to do it in such a way where we're just always chasing the numbers and the this and the virality, it's all. I feel like it's caught up to us, Dr. Andrew. I feel like at what point when you tell everyone pivot, 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 what do you got next? What do you what's where do we
Well,
you have fallen
we're missing the
the plot?
substance. But
Yeah.
at the same time, Ronnie, don't you think reality TV, like when I bring up about politics, I'm like, I want to make it a point because I think as a country,
Well,
we are really
it's your show.
like,
You can do whatever you
yeah,
want.
but
I
no, I'm just saying, like, as a country, we're really people, it's so divisive right now. And there are some people who have aligned themselves with
okay. Well,
believing in very, very
yeah.
racist rhetoric and
Okay.
things that you
Let's
just like
get to the next.
this isn't a normal time right now. This isn't George Bush. This
So we
isn't
can no. We have this time to talk about the good stuff. Like we got to get to the good stuff. We got to focus
yeah.
on like the real positive things. Everyone having a think piece on a situation is like like at some point it doesn't change it. You've got to also, keep the focus on the really positive stuff. And that's what I try to do. Like we're talking about when I was messaging you, I was like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
love shows like Hacks. I love shows like The Comeback. You
Yeah, I think they're
you
making
don't
some interesting commentary. I
yeah.
mean, I think that reality TV, I think the hard part is social media. Like to your point about social media, I think so much of content creators have become reality TV. And I think that the majority of the younger audience is watching social media and they're not watching reality TV. So how do you handle like, right? I think that's why Bravo tries so hard to like get into the social media channels,
Yeah,
into the
well,
algorithm.
if you're asking me as a question, I would say, doesn't that depend? I'm not saying I'm right,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, doesn't that depend? Like, who is your audience? Bravo's a little bit of the identity crisis, though I love the network. Um, your point is good, but again, if you do that, is that like what? That's not who you are. Like it's going to start to look really lame, in my
Well, I
opinion.
think like you've said, next gen, in your opinion, it sounds like next gen is trying hard to tap into the Gen Z
Mm,
group. I don't know if it's doing it well. I'm not sure. I don't really hear people talking about next gen on an everyday basis, but
mm.
I do hear everyone talking about hacks. And, like definitely, I would say scripted TV, scripted comedy is really strong. I don't,
That's
reality
yeah.
TV, I don't know. I mean, I think that,
Well, and all my disdain
yeah.
for everything we were talking about earlier is that I still like it as a escapism form of television, and that's
Oh,
why I
I
said
think it's
I,
yeah.
I get to feel as charismatic as it once did. And yeah, like scripted, I think is on its peak, which is so great. And I don't want to, when something changes and shifts, you don't just throw it. Hold on one second. When something changes and shifts, I don't think you want to just throw it by the wayside. If you love it and you know that there's something there for it, then you still support and cheerlead and advocate for it, I think. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, scripted has really just kind of taken over. And that's such a good thing. And I really do enjoy, I mean, I had never watched really, what was the show? It was on HBO. What was I think it just had its third season. The guy from Game of Thrones was in it also. What's that show called? You know what show I'm talking about. God, I'm gonna say my brain goes to Succession. It's not Succession. It's
Oh,
Industry.
okay.
That was fun to watch. A lot of
Well,
the
heated
HBO shows
rivalry.
that was fun to watch. Yeah, that was fun, and that was also like a moment too, which is great because you want your shows and your programming to feel communal, and that's nice to have. You know, Madonna's Confessions 2 album, communal, like a community, all at the same time. We don't have that a lot, you know. And maybe to the credit of a Love Island, what does maybe make it good too, outside of some of the things we thought earlier, is that it is airing all the time. And so
Mm,
from this date to this date, it's like the World Cup of Love Island. From this date to this date, it's the World Cup of this or that, you know, Big Brother. So I'm one of the few people, but again, based on my age, I'm one of the few people who really loves appointments and like
yeah.
programming. I love when White Lotus is on every Sunday, and I know there's not a term water cooler talk anymore like there used to be that term. I know it's more online, but
Yeah.
I enjoy that, and I know a lot of people love like Netflix will launch like 10 episodes at one time. For me, I don't know. Do you have a preference in that? Because to me, I prefer that weekly viewing versus all at one time.
Oh no,
That could be my age.
I
I'm in my
like
40s.
weekly viewing. I mean, I liked knowing that like the comeback would be on Sunday.
Yeah,
Or and I really loved the comeback so much because I thought what it was doing with AI and like making it so witty
yeah,
of a commentary on AI, um like really just showing the importance
yeah,
of the
yeah,
creative arts and what the creative arts do. I thought again, I think like I'm always looking and maybe this is like where we are right now in a moment culturally, is in my opinion shows that make commentary are doing well, right? Hacks giving um Jean Smart like renewing her
mm,
career but also
yeah,
renewing Deborah Vance's career.
yeah,
um and then same thing with Lisa Kudrow's comeback. I think Madonna comeback, right? A lot of this is about those coming back into the spotlight,
yeah.
but I've been talking a lot about horror because I think horror as a genre is doing really well. And again, I think maybe that's the anxieties that people have. I mean, I think you know, but I hear your point, Ronnie, and I agree. Like joy
Do
is
I sound
also
grumpy?
no, but joy is important and optimism. I will say I'm very excited. Maybe not as much as Orange County as you've heard, but I will watch it because I'm curious and maybe we'll talk about it. But I'm excited for the girls trip because like that to me will be great because it's
Yeah,
the 20-year ultimate girls trip, bringing the different casts together. I always like when they bring like different personalities and different
yeah.
cities and different
Changes.
experiences.
I wish Kenya Moore was still on the show, but okay,
I
I'll get
know.
over. But yeah, I mean, the whole concept with the Real Housewives, for those who like always shunned it from day one, you could, that's your prerogative, of course, but it really does need to constantly be additionally brought up that reality show, it is a reality show that has put in the forward facing space many of cast members that are at a certain age that otherwise would not maybe get to do a show or have that moment or that reshift in their lives. The show does lean on the side of a reality TV show, which means it's messy, which means it's really not always the most couth. However, to have all of these cast members over 20 seasons within the franchise, and then how many shows? What, 7 or 8? Or and internationally as well. All these Real Housewives of this, Real Housewives of that, um, is still such a positive thing about it, and that's why, like, even if you and I have disagreements on how they're doing the show, like, I know that you just said scripted is so much better. It's at a peak, and it is. But I'm trying in my mind to not like also throw away. I don't, and I notice that that's how
Hmm.
people are these days. They throw everything away, throw it right away. I don't know what that is. Don't you? Like, I'm a stand on my, like, how I feel about a thing for until it's not. I have made the mention that reality TV isn't what it once was. It wasn't the love that I had. For whatever it is, Bethany Frankel, who probably wants nothing to do with the 20-year celebration of the show. I loved that you know process of
Hmm.
her starting off in one particular space and then having this huge business acumen. Granted, although we do kind of see that she wasn't as starving artist as she portrayed, but that's neither here nor there. And I'm just saying, like, the shows, I wish, like, if I was casting Orange County, give me somebody that's got all this process. You know what I mean? Give me somebody who, like, 5 years ago was somewhere else, and how did they get out of that rut, and now they're living this gorgeous behind the gates experience in Orange County. That's the story you do, because that story will be interesting, especially you put that up with Heather. Heather has been successful for a very long time. I'm not saying they will have to clash, they might actually bond, but, like, we got to have more stories. I think what reality TV is doing wrong, or casting, is they're casting all personalities, which is great, but they're not seeing how they would relate to others. And you know that, Dr. Andrew, when you do
Yeah.
shows, who is your guest? It's never the 8 most amazing people. It's like, okay, if I'm doing a panel discussion, well, here, this guy fills the level of being, very intelligent, and he's a little bit more, you know, humorous and out there. You have to let that match together. And casting, to me, used to be maybe a job I'd want to go into after whatever career I was in. I started in radio, so we were always identifying this, and this. And casting has really, I'm not saying the casting directors have failed, but I think Bravo deciding which cast members to come on to Housewives, they have made some interesting choices. Orange County, I'm not knocking this girl, but I want to take you back to this. Orange County had a gal named Noella, and I'm not against Noella by any means. I hope Noella's doing well. But Noella on that show they had a scene. Bravo aired this. I'm still mortified by this. I don't know why. And in the scene, she's with, I think, Emily and someone else, and she said, "Oh yeah, when I have my, we'll call it relationships, many of them Noella would talk about, she would have a stack of okay, a stack of I will not say it." And in my head, I'm like, I'm not these. I'm watching the show as a viewer, as a man, but I'm not like, I would feel a little, like, not offended, but like, what had it come down to such a stack of That's
Yeah.
what Real Housewives of Orange County felt was compelling. What am I missing? Am I too stuffy? Like, I
Well,
couldn't even.
I have to know. Well, for those who don't know what, Ronnie's talking about, he's referring to adult themed artwork that Noella gave to her ex-husband, which was a vertical stack of, you know, we'll just call them pussycats. Um, but
It was kitty on kitty on kitty, and I'm just watching the show thinking, like, I think of, like, my aunt. My aunt loves this show. She's been watching it since season 1, but she's a little bit more. She's regal, and she loves a funny show. She loves a Shannon Medore. It's
yeah,
great, and they all act silly and get drunk, and it's a clown show all day. But when
yeah.
I saw a stack of kitty on kitty
Well,
on
do you
kitty,
think that the point was Noella's gonna like be sexually liberating? Like, because maybe they thought, oh, she's really gonna help open up conversations. Because I
you are
feel
you
like,
this yeah, this is why we talk with you, because you were so brilliant. That's fantastic. I will not knock that, but can you let me try to get this sentence. it's never the topic at hand, it's the way
Yeah.
it's displayed. It's like the choice of using curse words, not using curse words. It's the vulgarity, not the vulgarity. So I love that you make that point, and let's be clear, I do want it to make mention, I thought Noella could have got a second season, especially because her first season was the way it went. There was a little sense of redemption that I think she would have wanted, and I think she would have attained. I think she knew to throw it all out there, but I think like I would have wanted to see somebody who did throw it all out there and had a harder time that first season. I would have liked to see a growth. She actually could have been, I don't want to say one of the greats, but she could have been very entertaining. So I love, this is why it's so great when we have these conversations, because I didn't even think of it from that. Yes, in terms of like a sexually liberated, is that how you stated it? A sexually liberated cast member, great for the show, wonderful. But when you say it, and it was almost like mocking the whole thing, I think, in a way. And all I know is in my head a stack of and
Yeah.
it's just like I'm like,
Yeah.
what show am I
Yeah.
watching? I might
Well,
as well watch
like,
Love Island at that point.
yeah, yeah. Well, how did you feel about Amanda Francis? Because she was very divisive on Beverly Hills.
Everything I'm going to say is going to come around this lens when it comes to Beverly Hills. The most overrated cast member has always been Kyle Richards, and I think every single human knows that. Um, Even when shows have a bad season, they'll like talk about all the things that need to happen, and really the only thing that does need to happen is that Kyle has slowed down the show. Um,
Mm.
Even though she's had like this magical, cute storyline, she hasn't had to work in the way the other cast members have had to work. I've been saying this since season one. Season one, episode one, frame one, Kyle Richards has never had to work in the way the other cast members have. And I think everyone knows it. And even when shows have, Beverly Hills, have a tough, and we'll get to your Amanda comment in a second, even when Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has a bad season, you hear all the greats, the really good commentators, they all talk around. Well, it sounds like if Kyle just vacates the show, we've got a show, but no one will touch it. So clearly, there's a bit of a structural. The show's going to work with Kyle. It will never until she's ready to go. It will always be Kyle. I cannot understand it for the life of me. And I guess magic and dreams come true because most people do have to work for their checks. She doesn't really, and it's mesmerizing. So what I think about Amanda, I think she was perfect. I think she was perfect on the show. Yeah, she was fun. They didn't like her. Why?
Um, yeah, I think they just didn't like her because she wouldn't engage in like going down with them to toxic, reactions. I think like she remained very calm and cool and like in my opinion, you might disagree with manifestation and that type of practice, but like she explained what she does, and if you don't agree with her job, that's one thing, but like to keep asking, well, what do you like to pretend that you don't know what she does, even though she explained it. I think, you're just beating the horse over and over again. And
Where it looks silly with them to Amanda
yeah,
was this. The same way you could say it's almost like you're insulting the intelligence of Amanda's fan base, which they that okay, I could get it to a degree. Where it seems, and I hate using the word hypocritical because everyone overuses it when we talk about Bravo's reality show, The Real Housewives. But where it feels hypocritical is if you were to do that to Amanda, you have every right to do that. That is your prerogative. But wouldn't somebody say the same thing about you? What is your career? You are a star on a reality show. Like it's literally the same thing. It's basically saying what earns you. Like I'm again 20 years radio guy. No one's throwing a fat check my way, but at the same time, that's the skill set. And if somebody does tomorrow, and they will throw a fat check my way, like you cannot. Why is Ronnie got this huge Sirius XM deal? You're knocking on a thing that you also do, and I think that's what made it interesting. What I
mm,
feel they were trying to do with Amanda was proclaim that she had no actual service. And it's there's a cast member that's on one of the reality shows, and he does like everyone else, rags to riches. And then you look at the backstory, you're like, there was never rags, but okay, you sold us. And I know there's a particular person who I know, and they're a real estate person, and they look at that person and they're very motivated. And in some way, I'm like, oh, well, he sold you the dream, but also if that helps you, I'm speaking about my friend,
Yeah, yeah.
that's great. So do you see what I'm saying? Like I know there's a particular character, I'll tell you after who it is, uh, who's kind of sold a dream, rags to riches. So it motivates the next real estate person who had nothing and they're building and
Mm,
you do feel kind of lame about that, but if it does suffice and it does do something for a person, far be it for me to knock that. And I think that's maybe why I can't knock Amanda in that
yeah.
way, like criticize and break down. Well, what is
Well,
she, you know?
I think they were also trying to make her into that she's a cult leader. Like it was almost like they were trying to make her into Jen Shaw. And I'm like, this is
Oh,
not Jen
yeah.
Shaw.
And
And
there you have it. Why the show's not entertaining? Be entertaining. It's like a comedian back in the day. If you're a comedian and you're not hitting the jokes, and then you start throwing, vulgarities and all this stuff, you will work the room a little bit, but not on the basis of the joke. So stay on the thing. Yeah, that's a interesting mic drop moment. Um, and I think Amanda did have a little bit of a past, and I think she spoke to it. Will she not
yeah.
come back to the show? Is Amanda done forever?
I don't know if she's spoken out. All I know is you probably saw that they're definitely flirting with having Crystal back, which I think is great. I liked Crystal. I've heard Lisa Rinna's name a lot.
Well,
Um,
Lisa left. Crystal is as smart as Tamara and all these gals. When they get, I guess, asked not to come back, while not all of them make good podcast hosts, sometimes they generate so much. And I think Crystal has stayed the course,
yeah,
sort of rewritten the way people think about her, and has a lot to offer. And so suddenly the interest is peaked, and then she doesn't make sense to come back. And I think Crystal coming back will be very valuable because it'll be very exciting. Maybe in some way, and I had no idea. You told me, Katie from Orange County has a show, so maybe in some way, Katie could at one point generate that, and maybe it won't be to come back to Orange County if you're saying you think this is the end, but maybe it'll be something where Katie will go to, you know, do the TV show The Traitors or something like that, or Big
yeah,
Brother or something like that. So we're all in it together a little bit. We all are chasing and having our own aspirational stuff. Well, I'll say, if you want to support me, patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr.,
yeah,
patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr. 20 years working in radio and over 1,500 episodes of staying the course that makes the most sense for me. I do not follow to all the new trendy things and the buzzy things, and it's been a great challenge in that.
yeah,
So the times I get such passion and love and adoration for the work that I do, it's amazing because it doesn't. I'm not using the more gimmicky type stuff. I did one recently where I was talking about Madonna and sort of the depiction of her being too, quote unquote, too old, and
mm.
I felt like I put my whole foot into that, or what would be the term? I put my whole shit into that.
Your
Uh,
foot in your mouth?
no, that's the wrong term. But what is, you put your whole kitty
I
cat
got
in,
it. I got it. Yeah, you put your whole essence into it, or yeah.
and
You're
it was
back into it. You're back into it.
and it
That's
did
the
interesting, and
saying.
it was interesting because hundreds of comments, which I usually do not pay attention to whatsoever. I would say like 95% of them, typed in some really wonderful opinions and why it makes sense, and how if you really think about it, she is the queen of reinvention. She always has been. So this is the next generation of that, and um, it was nice to see because again,
Yeah.
my channel and platform does not do well, but I feel like I do well.
No, you
Um,
do well. You do well, and you have a good audience. And
yeah,
like, I also think that you're doing something unique where I've kind of or I used to, again, I don't have as much like time as I used to, but, and that's a good thing because of the projects I do.
have you been
But,
working out? I feel like your arms are getting a little more pronounced. Yes,
oh, really?
I mean a little bit. He's working on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been doing a lot of Pilates and I just did a bike ride. Well, thank you, Ronnie. Um, but I also think that, um, I've stopped really watching a lot of just R- Real Housewives or Bravo recaps unless
Yeah,
they're like driven by an analysis that like
yeah,
I'm not interested in the gossip shows. That's it. I'm interested more in analyses of the show than
yeah.
like certain channels that just like regurgitate the same gossip. And I'm like, okay, I'm not,
Dude, that's a problem with the marketplace in general. Thinking about specifically Bravo and Real Housewives and those commentaries, they started as commentaries, and some of them now are like these weird news stories of like a source said this possibly could have. It's so unentertaining to me, and it's so unentertaining, and it's sort of sweeping the marketplace in general, like not just pop culture type podcasts, but every specific genre within. To the point that when you hear something entertaining. Back to what I said earlier. Back in the more of a theatrical era, it was about entertaining the audience, not engaging them. And I think we the cart is in front of the horse in this way, where we put so
yeah.
much on engagement that we don't have anything for them. I mean, we do have something for them to engage in, but there's no substance to it. And when you do follow a show that hasn't pivoted, I say, and they're more on just entertaining, and maybe they do a couple bells and whistles, yes, it's
Mm.
like mesmerizing, and it reminds me of what I spent 20 years in radio. Like, oh my gosh, this is entertaining. There's no every 5 seconds I'm going to say this, so then all of a sudden it could sail on a digital vertical platform and mean something else. And when you do get that, celebrate it and enjoy it. I was listening to just the other day, one of my favorite TV shows was with um, Julie. I was gonna say the character name, Julie and Billy from Difficult Podcasters, and the actual Julie and Billy Eichner. They did an episode on her podcast. How was your week too? And it was nothing but entertaining. And I just was like, this is what I fell in love with. So my biggest dream would be to like stay that course, but it gets competitive. Yeah, like you
Well,
said.
and something I noticed is how many podcasters um have basically just generated manufactured drama with each other to just like
Yeah,
get hits. And I'm like, I'm never gonna go that route. Like,
yeah.
you know, oh, you know, if like I started to talk on my show and like do a clip about like dragging what you do just to generate traffic, like I don't know. I just feel like I get it. They're trying to create scandal, but like I do think it's good to be ethical.
Mhm.
Like
Well,
I don't know. I care more about my integrity.
to each their own on how somebody does something. But I
Yeah.
think more for me, it's the love of the work. Before, like,
Yeah.
everyone started this new industry called podcasting, 5 minutes ago. In 2000, I think it was like 2000, maybe even 1999 was the first time I worked as like an extra. Like, I think I was on the show Boston Public or something like that. David E. Kelly series. I think they filmed in the Raleigh studios, and then right after that was radio in 2000 or something like that. And I fell in love with all of this in such a different way. So when people of today get into the podcast space and they do these things that can and effectively will work, I just don't bond with that because I fell in love with this entire thing in a much different way. I've listened to hours on hours on hours on hours of audio where you couldn't even have the visual. And so we would edit, and I worked as a segment producer on a show for years. We'd take hour interviews and we cut them into 3.5 minute vignettes. So I see it so much differently, but I've been very frustrated by the marketplace because it has been, I think at one point it was like 50-50. There'd be like really great shows, and then there'd be these like gossip shows. And now it just feels like
Mm.
so many things, not just pop culture, mind you, have shifted into all that. And because of my
Mm.
skill set, I guess I see right through it. So I just want a little more fun. The idea here with you and I did an episode about this too, was how has pop culture shifted over the years?
Yeah.
It shifted in the consumption of it, but it's also shifted in the distribution of it. You know what I mean? Everyone has a responsibility of what they're putting out there. And if you're everybody racing to beat the next person and do the next pushing the envelope thing, what are you left with? And I think that's the time we're kind of at. Talking about it really doesn't do anything because it makes it look like grumpy Ronnie. So I won't really put a negative on that. But I do want to find, this is what I want, Dr. Andrew. I
Yeah.
want to find my audience, not for just me, but the audience that has seen a void. Again, I didn't grow up watching high quality stuff and musicals or anything like that, but I like love that stuff. And I feel like I would love to see a shift back to that, because everything has gotten so messy. I think at the top of the year on what is it like Lifetime, there's always a surviving this and a surviving that. All deep stories and real stories. They're completely legit. But you think about it, they always come up at the top of the year, so it's quarter one earnings, and it's always insanely salacious. Not that these things don't happen, but I'm saying we're at a space where that's all anyone's putting their attention on. So I just want to find, for me personally, the space where entertainment is entertainment. I want to find the void. I don't think I'm the only person in this space who sees a void in things being entertaining. Like I think knowing you're like a social media manager, also one of your many things. And a lot of the stuff is like, oh, if you don't get them in the first 3 seconds, or what's the hook, what's the this. We're getting to a point where, Andrew, we're getting to a point where you'll see things, and I don't scroll as much as the normal person, thankfully. Um,
Yeah.
but you'll see something and be like, here's 6 seconds how refinance your mortgage, in 2 seconds. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
we're getting
They talk super
major,
fast. Yeah.
well, but major things that you should probably put a little more time into getting in 6 seconds. If this is a mortgage or an insurance policy, I don't think you need it to go that quickly. I
Well,
think you
it's
should,
also like what you're
like, where
saying, Ronnie, about,
are we rushing to?
well,
That's what I'm saying.
I think the
Yeah.
problem is we have an attention span issue, we have a distraction issue, we have um people cannot put boundaries around scrolling, and they can't focus their attention. This is why I believe so much in reading and literature and um like having boundaries. Like I think we need to kind of go back to the early 2000s where we had media, we had analog things, and you were able to still live like a very balanced life. And I also think instead of pop culture consumers, we're living in an age right now where there's pop culture creator. Like everyone thinks they need to be a creator
Yeah.
instead of just enjoying consuming the work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. And like even music wise, like what made Madonna's Confessions 2 album so special, I think, was there was a level of, a synergy. Stuart Price, of course, that collaboration, there being an original Confessions of a Dance Floor, and it being Confessions 2, the timing and the moment and the excitement, and again, the void. And so when you listen to it, it is connected. There's a connective tissue all the way through, the way that now, and this goes back to the days of like when ringtones were big, that it was ringtones, as if that wasn't low attention span enough. Now it's got to be viral, and it's got to, we're asking for so many things. And again, being entertained in the arts, they're probably not the biggest priority. I get that there could be an argument behind that, but I also feel like they feed you a little bit, and they are a good escape and a way to unwind. So I'd come to this conclusion that like it's just so much of a TMZification of just virtually everything. And so, okay, well, go ahead. If the content creators like it, if the audience salivate over it, that's okay. I can't even knock all that. I'm saying I'm out of it. I'm not interested. It's never the topic, it's the delivery. So I'm really trying to see where that void is. And when you see little things like the Tony Awards being so special this year, and Madonna having this album, like you said, Heated Rivalry, having that unexpected moment, these things feel really good. And you almost have to ask the question, why do they feel so good? It's because these are things that were made to entertain, and that's it. I mean, yes, everything leans into a bells and whistles of today. And yeah, I wanna definitely not be a complainer. and just complain about these same things. But I'm just trying to find that void.
But they
And
also created a commentary of an audience, right? Like a shared community. And I think
Mhm.
that the most effective pop culture is what causes a collective conversation.
Yeah,
And I think that like we're missing out, like we're missing just enjoying um and like talking about Madonna, for example, then in our current society, people are like, oh, let's move on to so and so. Like, don't you feel like when you want to just like you want to kind of just stay in the one
yeah.
uh
And you know,
topic, it like quickly moves to the next.
here's another thing. Things should be enough.
Yeah.
You again, as I said with the other thing earlier, rushing to where? Rushing to what? Low attention span my ass, you know. And there's parts of that, sure, and we're always busy, but we got to set that metric because where are we rushing to? I always say if that is the case, low attention span, um, wouldn't you expect to see somebody who does have low attention span? Wouldn't you expect to see they got on a fitness journey or learned another language or did some world travel or local travel? All this low attention span, I don't see any productivity out of it. So please kind of think of it in that way. And I feel like this whole thing is I started as a guy who loved radio in my 20s and pop culture and all that stuff. And now I feel like I'm on my way to being a life coach because I have had failures because of the angle that I've decided to stay on. I've decided pivot. No, I don't want to pivot. I want to do this, but it's not a lot of money in that right now, which is fine. But it's made me come up with so many just fascinating things and great storytelling to be had, that like I feel like a life coach moment is amongst me. A TED talk is amongst me just from me breaking it down as I say within all this is like all this stuff has been happening for 5 seconds. This is all brand new,
Mhm.
digital consumption and distribution. It's all brand new. And while I see it and maybe don't understand it fully, maybe don't want to understand it fully, my entry point to this was so much different because again, I was a 20-year-old back in the early 2000s going into what was radio and it was so magical. So when you add all those up, that's why I am a stickler and you sort of put my foot down on certain things because I know like there could be some really fascinating, I guess you would say, art to be had. And so yeah, that's
No, this was great, Ronnie. No, I feel like yeah, I do think though we are seeing a reaction, backlash, maybe, I don't know, to this virality, to the over um consumption, the overproduction or the um like people picking and choosing intentionally what
yeah,
they're consuming and even like just putting their phones down. Because like
yeah,
I can tell you, I think you've probably seen it. Like there's some people that um like can't be without their phone, and I deal with this in the classroom in college is I spend time with my students like
that's right.
having them intentionally
Yeah.
just focus on
Mhm.
a piece of literature or focus on art without like feeling they need to or write without having that
Yeah,
phone right next to them. And it's like how how can we expect, adults to appreciate and enjoy pop culture and all talk about it and have those water cooler moments if the young people in America, you know, are also suffering from, a needing a dopamine hit from their
yeah,
technology. And I mean adults also do too. I mean, I
yeah,
think it's almost like in my mind a deprogramming,
yeah.
like kind of getting back to that understanding of, oh, we can all talk about this piece of work. And I think though where the positive of social media is that we can amplify and talk about queer
Sure.
art or any kind of artwork, but
They're just
the
interested. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the flip side of social media is where when everyone is enjoying a piece of work, then people start to tear down the actors, you know? And oh wait, we lost Ronnie. Hopefully he'll come back. 1 second, everyone. But I hope you're enjoying this conversation. It's been interesting talking with Ronnie, especially since we have, I would say, similar opinions about the Real Housewives and Bravo. But I don't know if any of you who are watching believe or think the same thing, which is I just feel like reality TV is definitely not the same as it was in the early 2000s. Like I remember Survivor, Amazing Race, The Mole. And then I just think that maybe because of TikTok and Instagram, like I feel like reality TV is all around us, but it's not that scripted reality TV that we see on our screens. It's not like The Valley on Bravo or um, even Love Island in a way is kind of scripted TV. You can make an argument. Um, but okay, I'm gonna see if Ronnie's coming back. Um, but yeah, I don't know how I lost him. So let me just see. Um, mm, okay, he might have lost a connection. Okay. But I do want you all, now that I'm at the end, so just please like this video, um, share it. Also, randomly, Ronnie Jr. Um, it's randomly Ronnie Jr. on YouTube. Please give him support. He has great videos. Um, I really love his takes. He just did an album review of the Madonna Confessions too. So he did like the best of Bravo TV in his opinion, 20 years of Bravo TV. Um, so I was just talking about your amazing channel, Ronnie.
Am I back?
Yeah, no, no, you're back. I was telling everyone,
My apologies.
no, it's okay. I was telling everyone they need to see your like review of Madonna and you know, all your videos you have up. But yeah, no. So basically just like yeah, this idea of just enjoying say heated rivalry.
Yeah.
Um I feel like unfortunately what happens is then the fans take to social media and try to like criticize the actors or like create drama just because they feel like they need to contribute instead of just enjoying the performances.
You know what sentence I try to eliminate as well, I wouldn't even call myself a creator or whatever, but a guy who loved radio 20 years ago. I try to not add too much acknowledgement. I hear my favorite podcasters, even people who've been I'll just throw the easiest name, like a Heather McDonald, who's like should be and she's fantastic, but should be so elevated. And sometimes you'll hear her be like, well, over on TikTok, someone said what like that's and maybe there's something there, but like I think that's the concept is like, are these things happen? All of this, it's almost feeling like I'm trying to get the words. Like something could be there, sure, but like, it's like almost looking to. Okay, better example. Let me just switch. If you're
Yeah.
dating or married, and the very moment you don't feel the trust, and you got to go take that, let me check my spouse's or my lover's, phone. The trust is already lost. And I think it's like that same thing. It's like, is such and such problematic, and I'm not dismissing that by any means, because there is some stuff for sure. Or are we the creators who are making a lot of money by getting these viral moments? Are they fabricating things that aren't really even? And so that's maybe where I want to look at it a little bit. Um, how do you take that as I just stated it?
Well, if I'm understanding what you're saying, um,
Acknowledging any of it seems silly.
Like acknowledging the controversies on social media.
Yeah, yes, without merit. Yes, that. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Someone said, like I said, you see people that you've loved their work for years and years and years, and then now their show is like nothing but every 5 or 10 minutes. Well, people are saying, who are the people? Who are the people? Like in the olden days, we didn't let like you had to be at a certain cachet for your opinion to matter. Everyone as a human, your for sure your opinion matters. I'm very much of that. I'm not being mean in any way, but you know I'm just I'll say it like this, like I'm not doing my show and then oh well did you hear about Dr. Andrew without doing my due diligence and well let's look into it. No, I'm not well people
Yeah.
are saying Dr. Andrew that I think is sort of I know not everyone relates to like the broadcast scope of things, but I think it becomes a bit irresponsible. And even if it's not irresponsible, you have got to take ownership that you're hurting a narrative versus anything else. If that's what you want to do and live with it, then great.
Yeah.
So yeah, is
Well,
it?
I think they're not doing their fact checking about resources. Like they're
Yeah.
not doing they're not doing, as I would say to my students, they're not checking the um ethos and the credibility of the person. So like this is why I feel like we don't have a lot of digital media literacy, like to
Mhm.
actually fact check people. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, a clip can go viral, but who's the person behind the clip? Like, what's their
Well,
resume? What's
we're almost out of time, Dr. Andrew, where if it is viral, you almost got to question it more. Like at first it wasn't like that. At first it was more like, oh, this must mean more authenticity because it was sort of suppressed, this or this. But I'm just telling you what I feel as it shifted. But this is a stupid topic, so we're not gonna do it today further. What I do want to focus on as we take this home is I want to talk about the Real Housewives of Rhode Island in a second. But I just want to spend a little bit of a moment um, if I may, I want to spend a little bit of a moment on saying that yes, we talked about it briefly, that Comeback and Hacks were so beautiful and why I feel like they were beautiful. Comeback was more challenging with Lisa Kudrow than Hacks. Hacks gave me every tingling sensation that you're ever going to want. The Comeback was only challenging for the exact reason it was supposed to be challenging. When it first aired all those years ago, it was basically the character Valerie Cherish, hello, um, adjusting to certain times where in an industry you're going to have to pivot. And even when it got to its second season, all those years ago, it kind of just followed suit as to what was happening. This third time was the hardest to watch, which made it maybe more of a brilliant show in some weird ways, but it was harder to watch. Like I was able to laugh at the humor of the challenge, though, of an older gal as an actress trying to find where she fit in the first round and even the second season. But the third season, when the third season came about and it was dipping into kind of what we were talking about a second ago, the digital consumption and what that does for the arts. I found myself laughing, of course, on a lot, but also feeling very challenged and sad, but also strangely communal because everyone who was watching that show and loving that show, we felt like, dang, this is really the uphill battle that is. And they found a way to make it light and
Yeah.
humorous and tough, but darn it, Dr. Andrew, it was sad too in some ways. It was a very
Yeah.
hopeless show. And I don't mean that negatively. They did, was it Michael Ian Patrick? He created that, right?
Oh,
Is that his
Michael
name?
Patrick King. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I said it wrong. Um, it was brilliant, but it was also a little harder and took away a little bit of my faith in things being able to be entertaining versus this new generation that will be. And I think it unlocked my mind a little bit in some ways where I started to say, oh yeah, people don't want to be entertained anymore, they want to be shocked. And I'm not that person. Like shock is good, but shock comes and goes, and then you require the dopamine hit. And the Comeback, it just did a lot to me. Hacks
Yeah.
was brilliant though. Hacks was so darn good. Um, it was heartfelt, and Hacks made me. whenever anyone I know, friends, colleagues, we're all going through what we're going through, maybe you have a tough time in your process or whatever, it made me dig deep in and know the words to say and to be kind to myself when I need to get up and get busy and do what I need to do, despite all the BS challenges, and also how I could show that love to the people that I care about.
Mm.
Um, and it was a little bit of a you know how music is a soundtrack. Hacks was a little bit like a soundtrack to some of the stuff we go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
no, no,
I
absolutely.
could not think the music choices, the score in the last episode couldn't be
Oh, that
more
was
brilliant.
so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With yeah.
Most fascinating was seeing Ava, the Ava character, to see her have that tracking shot, much like we would
Mm.
continuously see the tracking shot with Deborah Vance. Stuff like that was like, as much as I and you, we love a reality show, there's times where we're like, it's the lowbrow for a reason. Because when you see these scripted shows and they tickle you in these ways, you're like, dang. So I was a little bit frustrated that we were going to lose Comeback and Hacks all at the same time. But there's always going to be other shows. I just completed watching Michelle Buteau. Wonderful Michelle Buteau had her third season. Unfortunately, that's done too, called Survival of the Thickest. So a little bit of that is like all sad that these shows are over, but also very inspiring. Like, who's the next wonderful creator? Maybe it's Dr. Andrew, who's got some wonderful story to tell. I don't know. Do I sound too soft and too like warm-hearted right now?
No,
I
I
you know
love it, Ronnie. Well, and let's get into Rhode Island just as we end, which is, yeah, what did you think of this brand new franchise?
Rhode Island, Bravo TV, this reality show, it was wonderful. And it was wonderful because, yes, I just talked about all those wonderful, peaceful, and inspiring things on Hacks, The Comeback, these wonderful HBO shows. But then you got the antithesis of you are as a viewer, where you see this bat shit, crazy, makes no sense. That, in reality TV was bad for one thing, and it is that it employed people for having no skill set, really. But dang it, if that is going to be a genre, that is a genre. This group of ladies was the perfect group. I think the show coming together, and I don't know if it was originally deemed a Real Housewives. I think some of the shows weren't, and some of those shows make for the best Real Housewives. Like I think, obviously, we know Jill said that Manhattan Moms was originally Real Housewives of New York, and I think Potomac was not. It wasn't a Ladies of Potomac spinoff London. Ladies of London, but it was definitely something, and they were following a particular organization. And then, once you get the cast members, you just build it into the franchise. I don't know for fact on this, but I think Rhode Island was maybe another show. It was just a good group, a good cast. And when that synergy hit, they probably plopped Dolores over there and said, we're going to make it a Real Housewives. Um, Cast member
Mm.
wise, I'm just going to tell you, Rosie was my most unexpected. I thought Rosie, and I'm gonna sound negative. I thought Rosie was comic relief. I thought she might have even been corny. And Rosie played that damn long game. I had no idea how amazing she was. And I say that to say that I thought Kelsey was interesting too. My favorite Real Housewives moments is when I like both cast members. I always say, whenever Melissa Gorga on Jersey and Dolores Catania on Jersey didn't like each other, it was an amazing scene. Because though I'm more Melissa than I am Dolores, it's like I'm gonna get a great scene because whoever's the victor is you like
Yeah,
both cast members.
yeah.
And I
Well, how
thought,
about Melissa and
I went,
Teresa?
Teresa, okay, I was doing an episode in my 1,500 episodes I've done. I'm customarily not a Teresa fan, but I don't know if it's because Teresa, Joe, and Melissa are all bonding again and we
Mm.
will get another season, or when I was doing some 20-year Real Housewives recaps of just what the show means and the success and all that, something warmed my heart with like this one simple sentence. If Teresa's contributions weren't what they were, you know, these franchises would not have went on. Customarily, I've never really enjoyed Teresa to the way I've liked Melissa, and I've liked Melissa since season two. Like when she, people will make the knock. Now she looks like J Lo, but originally Melissa was Melissa. I always liked her.
Yeah.
Um, you may wonder why I like Jen on Orange County, and I know people have their opinions on Orange County, but I like Jen and Ryan because I love a flirty energy couple on camera.
Mm.
And Jen and Ryan, it's a bit sexy if you ask me. And Melissa and Joey, it's a bit sexy if you ask me. Anyways, I know we're talking about Rhode Island, but yeah, I was through the roof on all of these characters. Um I liked Rula. I did. I understand. Fascinating television.
Yeah.
If this was your life, Dr. Andrew, or if I was if if it was for somebody I knew, friends and family, it'd be devastating. You're kind of sort of going through a really tough situation. What an embarrassment. You try to support it in any way you could. For television, you got a gal who is absolutely phenomenal in business, carries and displays herself with such poise and dignity. Probably is really phenomenal at her job. I'm sure maintains a beautiful, distinguished household. She's like perfect on every corner. And that damn goes to the gym every day. What's his name? Gary? No, Brian. Brian.
Oh, Brian. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When
With the
I tell you,
mistress.
when I tell you how much that was like quality television,
Mm.
mind you, Rula's amazing on every front except for Brian. And even her delusions, I loved. She reminded me of Larsa. Larsa, you tell Larsa anything, she is going to tell you. Larsa was so bad, and I love Larsa, that
I
she
know
told
you're like
Dr. Nicole,
obsessed with Larsa.
yeah,
I don't get it, but that's okay.
she told Dr. Nicole, well, I've got more businesses than you. You don't even have a job. She said that to Dr. Nicole, the anesthesiologist. Some delusions on this show
Mm.
make for
Well,
good
it
quality.
seems like you may like the delusional people, Ronnie.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You like that TV, but I will say, what are your thoughts on Liz not coming back? Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. And I think the show's harder than people think. And looking at the whole scope of it all, Liz seemingly on the show had a nice amount of long money. And the show's a little bit, the show, you
Yeah.
won't lose yourself on the show, but you can. And Liz has obviously some stuff, possibly. And if you break it down, she probably took a step back and said, why am I going to do this? Like, it's not like, this is no knock because I love this cast member, but it's not like your cast members like a Gina who you stand to make this good check. It's valuable for you. Robin on Potomac. I was referring to Gina on Orange County. Robin on
Yeah.
Potomac. You stand to make a good check. If you've got that gorgeous house, what am I doing this for? She did it once. Maybe it wasn't to the expectations. And I mean, yes, there is some thought process to maybe it's other stuff. With that being said, I think
Yeah.
she was perfect for the first season. I think it's maybe too early for her to leave
Mhm.
because
Oh,
there was
you're
some.
referring to the allegations that there might have been business things that would come out that
I
would
mean,
affect her.
if that's one of the potential reasons, if it's a potential reason, I wish she could have hung in there because I do find this group very fascinating and everyone I think I was talking about Orange County with you, how like they just cast people who are you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing, or you're
Yeah.
polarizing or loud, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I
But no
think
one,
the issue too is when they're casting like, oh, you're an influencer, you're someone
yeah,
who like, has a lot of followers. Like, I don't think that works
yeah, because
either.
it can't be all of the same thing. It has to be
No.
your insecure person next to your very secure person. It needs to be your I don't want to call anyone broke, but your broke person next to your wealth. That's what makes the show. I mean, Dorinda next to Tinsley was interesting. I mean, Dorinda had her heyday, and maybe she was struggling with getting older, and then Tinsley was like this picture perfect of maybe someone who she once was. I don't know if that's what caused that tension, but that's how you cast a show. And I thought that, like, yeah, some of these shows, um, Orange County, Atlanta, they just cast who they think are the most interesting or have the biggest following. Rhode Island was different. Everyone complimented each other in such a way that it was complimenting each other, but it also like caused friction too.
Mm.
With that being said, I had no problem with Ashley uh, at all. Ashley and Jared. I know that they were your influencer ones on that show, but I think Ashley, is that her name? Yeah, Ashley.
Yeah. The
She
one
leaned
from The
in.
Bachelorette
I think she
or
leaned in.
Bachelor, The Bachelor. Yeah.
yeah, she leaned in. She understood comic relief. She understood she was the out of town, not a
Yeah.
local. I actually thought
I
if any,
liked her reactions. I think
yeah,
you need that person who kind of just, has a type of audience reaction. Like, where am I? Like the uh almost like an alien just transported to Earth, like confused or shocked about what's going on. I thought
yeah,
she provided some interesting perspectives,
yeah,
but
she didn't seem corny or cliche about it either.
no,
I mean, the real deal is they are a younger couple coming from a show, which a lot of perceptions of that could even be like how authentic is the love story. You meet on a TV show, so seeing
no.
them do that I think is kind of interesting. I would totally bring her back. Rosie, like I said, was my most unexpected. Kelsey was my she had a couple corny moments she did, but she also like embraced who she was. I mean she won't call herself the gold digger, but she was like in gold
Yeah,
digger spaces.
yeah. I
But she leaned.
definitely, I definitely will say I think Joellen was probably my favorite.
Oh, that goes without saying. Yeah, when Joellen talks,
Yeah.
I feel like I mimic Joellen's talking, structure, her cadence,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
she's damn funny. Okay, can we do a caution about Joellen though for one thing?
Sure.
This is just I'm asking you a question.
Yeah.
Is Joellen, and it's funny because she sounded like she didn't watch the show before, didn't care about the show, all these things. If you had to, is Joellen, and this is me digging deep because I like her, is Joellen the closest to a Heather Gay? And what I mean by that is Heather Gay on Salt Lake City is the most like she was a fan of the show. She
Mm.
will do what needs to be done to make a show. Is Joellen on that same trajectory, or am I overthinking it?
Poss No, possibly. I mean, I think on every show, there's always the one who will do whatever the producers ask.
Yeah.
And I think that's Joe Ellen. I think that's Heather Gay. I think that's um well, I think that's why Kyle Richards is popular because she does do what the producers want her to do, which is try to stir up things between everyone.
So wait,
As long as
like,
she like as long as Kyle Richards doesn't have to be, you know, uh hit by the bus. She's not going to put herself out there, but she'll
she'll throw
get
under.
everyone
Yeah.
else involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good
No.
question, but I'm curious to see. Um, I definitely think Rhode Island was very captivating. I think that it's doing justice to the Real Housewives. I think that's probably up there now as one of my favorite casts, like of the recent casts that are, out
Yeah,
there.
it's good. It's good because again, the franchise get coming up on 20 seasons, 20 years, and yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess this happens in sports too. Everyone's a fair weathered fan. It was moments
Yeah.
ago, Housewives this, Housewives that, and then like, you know, new shows come into play. Love Island, Love Is Blind, and kind of don't want to play. It's like a old puppy. You don't want to play with your dog anymore. There's other things, and so I always try to be like, no, I still do like the show generally, even when they struggle. But this one was a nod to some old school Housewives TV show
Yes.
reality
Yes. That's what was
mess.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea why they put on pause New Jersey, really. I don't know why they put on pause Miami. Do you have an inkling on what you think Miami could do to fix itself? Is it done like
Uh,
completely?
I mean, all I heard was allegedly it was because of Alexia's on and off again husband, Todd,
Oh,
and he like um pursued legal matters against the
oh.
cast members. So I think
Well, that'll do
yeah,
it.
but
Well, Carson must be pissed then in that
Yeah.
case.
But I think with Jersey, it was Louis Ruelas and everything that
Mm,
also he did with the private investigator. So,
oh,
yeah, I think that whenever you involve the law or any kind of,
mm,
again, like it, when it gets to a level where you're threatening the cast members,
mm,
like what Margaret Joseph's, her son, like being
yeah.
threatened and called, like to me, like
It's
why did it reach that level? Like, why is that
and,
even
and
going
even
on?
if the show leans into scandal, like it's tantalizing, I guess, for a moment, but it really does detour from the show, in my opinion. One interesting take I always had was Salt Lake City. And
Mm,
this is I didn't think the Jen Shaw um like the show's fine without her. Like, remember they had the full
yeah,
season dedicated to what's going to happen, and it was almost like seeing a Teresa type situation. Obviously, much different things, or Erica Jane situation. I really like when the network does follow these stories. I don't want to see it. I know that's like just fire them, or like I don't want to fire anybody. Well, obviously if you did what Jen Shaw did, but I don't think following these types of stories are good for this show anymore.
mm,
I think there's enough going on, and it's not why I want to watch reality TV. It really isn't. So
yeah,
that's what made
yeah,
it a little different than when with Rhode Island, because it just felt like
yeah.
just the
Well, they said it
silliest
was like
argument.
original Jersey, and I agree. It had that like um that organic excitement.
Mhm.
Well, before we go, I just have to know, Ronnie, because a show I'm really
Uh,
enjoying isn't a housewife show, but it's The Valley. I really like The Valley.
what I'm befuddled. I'm verklempt. What? Tell me what,
You,
where, and who, and why. I've got nothing about me that likes the Valley, and I would probably assume that I don't know that the showrunner is that great of a showrunner. But in contrast to that, yeah, he did do Vanderpump Rules. And in contrast to that, I'm one of the few. I swear I'm like the only person who watches. I like the Vanderpump Rules reboot with Kim, with Marcus, with Venus, I like the new cast.
I was gonna say
So
I don't
I
know any of them because I didn't watch it, but
Oh, I
yeah,
loved that season. I'm one of the few. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I want to, on one part, think is it the showrunner because he does Beverly Hills too, and I famously don't love Beverly Hills, and I don't like The Valley, but yet I do watch Vanderpump. So I don't know what the problem is, but that's so funny. Rather than me because I'm not going to be a hater. What do you like about The Valley? I used to live in Studio City. Like, I just cannot get behind that show.
I
Tell me what you
like
like.
I like the group dynamics. I like that Lala and Tom um and Kristen, Brittany. I don't know. I kind of like the new people that they brought with them. Like I really enjoy um that there are gay cast members like Zach and
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine. Um
Mm-hmm.
and that like the friendships do seem genuine. I like Janet.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think like they all are kind of working in interesting ways together.
Can I tell you
Um
something I think
yeah,
sucks? Like, and it's not like I haven't watched the show. I
yeah.
follow it. Probably this third season is my least following of it, but I think I wish Sheena was on it. I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I
Well,
don't know. Sheena never really captivated me, but
mm.
again, I wasn't like a huge like I wasn't a Vanderpump Rules like I wouldn't watch every season.
Oh,
I
okay.
knew some of it, but so to me, The Valley is kind of just like a completely new show in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I don't have that much attachment.
Well, that's probably
Uh,
like the city with Summer House. Like some people are probably going into it just with the city. I don't mind the city, but the real city was MTV's Whitney Port show. The city that you would never Olivia Palermo. You're never gonna get a show better than that of that time, in my opinion. No, but the Valley is a struggle for me. I'll give it another shot. I'll continue on.
Yeah.
But I will say that I surprisingly, because I'm not a super fan of the show, Shaw's, although you watch it every once in a while, but I thought to your exact point, having Vanderpump cast members on the Valley mixed in with like the right new people that just seamlessly gel. I thought the Persian, was it called Persian Style of the Valley with Reza and
Mhm.
Golnessa and MJ. I thought it was so good. I thought
Mm.
exactly your 1,000% point. People you already knew, they're adjusting and growing up into a different space and time in their lives. But who they added was really strong. So
Well,
I don't know if
and
they're getting a pick. Oh,
I think that's what they're doing with Jersey too. I feel
okay,
like the Real Housewives are kind of those that are being rebooted, I guess.
yeah,
Are doing that, keeping older, like, or seasoned members and adding in like more newer members. Like, I wonder if that's what the Golden, I just keep calling it the Golden Girls, but the Golden New York,
Golden
whatever,
Age, yeah, with
Golden
Luann,
Age. Yeah.
Ben Simone, Ramona. Yeah.
Oh
You
wait, no,
think?
no, they are doing something with New York with
Yeah.
having the newer cast with Carol Radziwill.
Oh, that's what you were mentioning. Okay, is it just Carol? She's the only old school one. Luann didn't come back.
That's all I heard. I mean, I
Mm.
think Luann's on the Golden, um, what are they calling that show? What did you say? The Golden Life? The Golden
Golden
Life.
Light.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I like Luann, but there are times in my challenging, hardworking career that I'm like, dang, people be having like 7, 8 shows. Can I get one show? So Luann, I like you, but dang, like spread the wealth a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
My final thought though, I got to tell you, this is the most important thing I've said in this whole thing. When you talk about cast members joining the Real Housewives and
Yeah.
they're making all these decisions with the New York franchise or Jersey or just Orange County, Atlanta, Rhode Island, Potomac, everywhere, Miami, whatever they do, I wish, Dr. Andrew, that they casted of a certain age, long in the tooth. I do not. Amanda did work on Beverly Hills, yes, and that's great. Melissa Gorga was very young on Jersey, and I love Melissa Gorga and Joey. But I want a crunchy old cast member. I want you to have lived a little, as the great Wendy Williams say. I want you long in the tooth. Thing. And to me, that is the best casting advice that anyone needs to know. Am I completely on point, or you disagree completely?
No, I agree. I agree. I think there needs to be, you always need to have that like veteran um voice, that,
Mm-hmm.
respected voice too. Like the person who knows the genre, or the person who knows who's seasoned, who's a veteran and wise, above, like wise in years. But
Yeah, I'm speaking to
yeah.
this net. I'm speaking to Bravo. I'm not like saying it's a general rule. I'm saying to Bravo and Bravo casting. When Tinsley was on, I loved Tinsley's CW show. I did, but when Tinsley was on Real Housewives of New York, I wasn't really that impressed. But when her mom when Dale was on the show, I was like, Dale. Now Dale is the party. I
Mm.
love that. Just, I mean, I don't want to call anyone crotchety, but like just very refined and poised with a little bit of personality. And she was a beauty queen back in the day. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, right. And some people, like, I think it just speaks to the um like human condition, where some people thrive in certain groups or spaces, and then you could put them in another group, and you know, they just they don't mesh, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just how group dynamics work. But
You watch
I'm
a
gonna
lot of you watch,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you watch a lot of reality TV. You're very scholastic and you're very wise. If you were producing a show for one of the networks, what is an interest that you have?
Hmm. I think that, I mean, I would really want to produce. a like queer male, different ages, like
Mhm.
those living in the New York City metro area who are like, entering into different professions, like someone from like Broadway, someone from like a literary or academic profession, someone
Yeah,
who's like more in the sports profession. I don't know. Like I think it would be
yeah.
interesting to see um different personalities of queer men because I feel
Well,
like they
that's
tend to
been
all be in the same group and you don't
right.
really see differences
Well,
in
there
the
was
group.
the A list at one point, and there was Fire Island, a reality show
Yeah.
that Mark
The
Constellos.
A-list I heard was really like well done.
What Bravo has lost, and I guess a lot of things have lost, is like when Bravo started, it was very, a little bit more, different practices of design and leisure and arts, and I getting back to that would be good. So I think to your show, if you added a little bit of
Yeah.
that too and mixed up a really
Yeah.
great cast, well,
Or
hey, Amanda says
well,
manifestation, so I
that's
manifested.
true. That's true. Or consulting, like when Tabitha's takeover, I thought was incredible.
Yeah,
Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. Like I really like too when someone comes in and like addresses the problem and fixes it. Like I feel like we don't really have those shows anymore.
yeah.
Um, well, and like the two women I really like, the I've Had It podcast. Jennifer Welch, wasn't she on a Bravo? She was on a show.
I wasn't really familiar with her at all, but I think she was on a show called like Sweet Home Alabama. It wasn't probably called that, but it was something similar. And I had
Yeah.
no idea.
Sweet Home
But I do.
Oklahoma.
Oh, is that what it's called? Okay, yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. You're close.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, anyways, hopefully reality TV still could be fun.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, no, no. I think that, you know, it's not going anywhere. I think you're right though. It's like a lot of things right now going through uh a rebranding of sorts.
yeah.
They're trying to figure out things.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of the era. I think they made the joke about this recently. How like back in the day, it'd be like a wonderfully talented artist like a Christopher Cross, as a wonderful singer songwriter. And then when the MTV generation came, music videos were more polarizing, and maybe he didn't like lend to that as much, and new
Yeah.
more packaged pop stars made sense. It feels like we're kind of in that too. And I just want it to be at a place where there could be a little bit of everything. Like, please give me the just cheesiest,
Yeah.
easily digestible, crunchy pop culture stuff, sure, but also give me a little bit more of a regal, artistic approach. That's all I want. I think there's a void out there for that, and I think I'm going to be the one to find it and even learn some stuff on my own. I grew up
Yeah.
not watching any musicals, any of that type of really refined programming, television. I never, film. I didn't watch it, but it's been something that's been over the years really exciting. So
Oh,
if it's there,
yeah.
let's try to find it. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Let's do our homework. I agree. And so everyone, right, so they can watch your channel randomly, Ronnie.
Yeah,
Um,
most of it, the
yeah,
easiest way to do is randomlyronniejr.com. You just do that and it goes right to it. Or if you're
yeah.
doing the keyword search, randomly Ronnie Jr., or the other keyword search would be at Hey Ronnie Jr. Yes, yeah. So it's all
Great.
linked there. It's 1,500 episodes of just things that I felt good about, and
Yeah.
I put my whole heart into it. So hopefully Dr. Andrew enjoys it, and
Oh
hopefully you
no,
like
no.
it.
I love it, and I know a lot of people love it. So
Mhm.
thank you, Ronnie. I hope you have a great summer. We'll, of course we'll be in touch. We'll be
Okay.
chatting about our hot takes. But yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on.